Hi, it's Arky3. Before you click away thinking this is a joke or nonsense, let me show you the evidence that these features are indeed man-made. As someone who is neurodivergent, I'm very frustrated and downright confounded why modern humans can't see what is obvious to me. All it takes is to look at these features and actually contemplate natural processes of geology and erosion and look to see if there is evidence of a man-made origin. As you can see in satellite photos, they form detailed human and animal figures that are even shaded with different types of rock. These stone figures cannot be created through natural processes. It is all prehistoric masonry work. Geologists say that these are natural because that is what they read in books written by other geologists going back 100 years or more. This was before satellite and digital photos. But no one questions the scientists of the past in a critical way. Everyone has heard the saying about assuming, how it makes fools of us all. Well, Westerners have always assumed that all rocks are natural and that there were never megalithic builders here. This despite the Olmec, Maya, Totonac, Zapotec, Aztec, and Inca all being on the American continents. Because of these assumptions, geologists end up working with plausibilities instead of fact. They looked at this valley and made up geologic natural erosional processes that they felt explained this landscape. Other geologists thought it sounded plausible, so went along with it, never questioning the underlying assumptions. The same is true in the field of archaeology. Do geologists ever really think in depth about erosional processes? We know that rain and wind will round and smooth and deposit minerals on stone surfaces. When exposed to sunlight and oxygen, most minerals become dark and often shiny from weathering. Rocks that are light or pastel in color are freshly broken. So there are no large detached rocks or columns of rocks around the bases of these features that would indicate recent cleaving. Also, none of these features have collapsed or fallen over. They are all standing straight up. If these features were natural, there would be examples in different stages of erosion, examples that are rounded and ones that had fallen over. If these were erosional, they should just be rounded hills covered in dark rock with soil and vegetation. Notice none of these features have trees growing up on top or in the cracks. If you draw in the different sections of these features, you can see how they were constructed. The masonry work and engineering become obvious and apparent. They are also on pyramid-shaped bases with masonry layers or steps. Excavating them would probably prove that these are indeed pyramids. Pyramids all over the world get reburied and resurfaced as they grow. This one has a man holding a stone column, perfectly balanced with a head on top. Again, the engineering is obvious. If erosional, some of these columns would have toppled over. Yet every one of them is still standing. Natural processes are confined by the laws of physics and chemistry. They are not magic. Masonry walls all over the Southwest are labeled habitation sites, when in the end they are actually mortuary sites. There should be tens of thousands of people buried in these areas because sophisticated empire builders were here for thousands of years. These features also form obvious human figures and faces, both from above and from the ground. So construction is most likely stone masonry with mortar and then coated with concrete. I have many videos showing this kind of construction technique in the Robledo Mountains and at Peña Blanca in New Mexico. I believe all these hills and rock features contain tombs. So you can see in satellite photos that this whole area has been disturbed and modified by ancient man, not only to create art at all different levels, but to make the land more productive. They were also creating these monuments and memorials to themselves, these giant temples. And it all tells stories about the empire and about individuals in the empire. So as you look at these satellite photos, look for the images and the art, and you'll realize that it's all man-made, that there are no natural processes that can create all this on our landscape.